All right, let's rock and roll. This monthly biohack, it's going to change your hormones. You know, really. Let me start with a story. So this happened literally in my kitchen. My wife and my son's girlfriend at that time were having a conversation about things girls talk about, cravings before their period. At least the young one was. And she said that this is something she has to deal with. It's so hard for her on the diet because she gets these cravings. I literally exiting the room. I said, listen to your innate intelligence. Listen to your body. There's cravings for a reason. Listen to them. And I went in my office right over there and I sat there and I thought, my gosh, of course there is. And then of course I start doing some homework, research, etc. and applying what I learned about diet variation. And sure enough, I said, okay, I have to try this. If we're listening to the innate intelligence, what if we purposely take 5 days, at least a month, right before the period, the menstrual cycle, and we do high healthy carbs? What if? So I started doing that and transformed, especially women who were struggling to either get into ketosis, get better numbers, had thyroid issues, adrenal issues. Here was the best part. It transformed their whole month from a fat burning standpoint, hormonally, every aspect that you could imagine. So then, of course, I brought it to my doctor group. I said, okay, I want y'all to try this. And we did. And sure enough, it worked. Okay, so then it went from women to, wonder if this just works for men as well, hormonally. So let's just take 5 random days and do higher healthy carbs. Feast. Remember now, feast could mean high carbs, 100 to 200 carbs. Instead of for one day, remember that was the 4-2-1, the 5-1-1? We do it for 5 days of the month, okay? Now, that could be high protein for 5 days, that could be high carbs for 5 days, or that could be even higher calories, eating more meals for 5 days a month. It works. Of course, I taught you this already, that it reminds the body that it's not starving. The body says, I have plenty, and then right after the feast, the body goes boom, it fuels the fat burning back up. However, in my research, I learned it actually does even more than that. So what happens, especially, let's talk about what happens a week before menstruation. You can kind of understand this. All these hormones, conversions take place. Meaning that we take estrogen, we convert it to different estrogens, thyroid hormone. I mean, all of these things happen in abundance the week before the menstruation. And these hormone conversions that take place in abundance need, guess what? Insulin. They need insulin to make the conversion. So even when you look at thyroid hormone from T4 to T3, the stored hormone, or the inactive hormone, I should say, to the active hormone, you need insulin. So therefore, we know that estrogen and other hormones, it's the same thing. We actually need higher glucose and therefore the insulin to help hormone conversions. So absolutely brilliant. And then the other thing is that I told you I was interviewing the physicist who actually stabilized oxaloacetate. So brilliant guy. And he was saying, well, sometimes you actually need higher glucose and insulin, in the brain, especially for estrogen in the brain, etc. And I'm like, gosh, I wish I wouldn't have wrote the book already, because that was absolutely brilliant what he was saying. And especially, again, that week, it's really critical that we get that higher insulin, glucose to drive the insulin for these hormone conversions. And obviously it plays a role in the brain too. But I think the best part about it is it didn't just help for that time or the period itself. It literally helped for the whole month. So when people ask about thyroid, adrenals, women, can they fast, etc., the answer is always, look, they can. They just need more variation. So yes, weekly variation. If you didn't watch last night's video, make sure you see it, and the week before, because those are really critical to understand my 5-1-1, 4-2-1. That's called weekly variation. But this is monthly variation. So this is it. So we take 5 days and we increase carbs. Okay, it could be increased protein, or it could be just increased calories. All 3 of these will drive a feast state. So you have to understand, like when I spent time with that tribe in Africa, when they had feast, when they had a kill, they ate. Believe me, they were doing some very high protein for that period. And again, the studies do show staying on very high protein, staying on high calories, staying on high carbs for too long has detrimental effects. This drives that pathway called mTOR, which shows that pathway does premature ages. However, when we do these short windows in these feast states, no doubt about it, it can drive healing in the body. I think even just driving that mTOR, it's a cell division state. Again, that's why long-term it can create cancer and other problems. But doing it for short-term, it does drive this anabolic state and this healing state. So it's very good in short-term. Okay, now I'm going to take it one step further. And this is going to go with the fast that you're doing. Okay, so imagine now, if we take 5 days a month and we do this, what if we take 5 days and we do the opposite? We stimulate the opposite pathway. Remember the mTOR, and then there's the autophagy pathway. Okay, so this time we are going to what? Fast. We emulate famine. So if we fast, then we're stimulating the autophagy pathway. That's where your body's eating the bad cells. So what if we take the 5 days and do a fast? Well, this is exactly what we're doing with our clients and patients, my doctors. We're doing this monthly. 5 days of a feast, 5 days of a fast. Now, that could mean partial fast, where you're just decreasing your calories, at least below 1,000, and your protein. Because remember, if you don't decrease the protein, you're going to stimulate the mTOR pathway, or at least you're going to break out of the autophagy pathway. So low protein, low calories. You could do the fasting mimicking diet, where that's all done for you in the boxes, or you can do a water fast. So what I like to do is each month I don't do the same fast, because I don't know that we all need to actually water fast every month. You could do a water fast, you could do a partial fast, then you could do a fasting mimicking diet, another partial fast, then a water fast, then a fast. So you mix it up. That's the best part. But once a month, what we're doing to really get the most out of the autophagy. So remember, this equals the autophagy pathway. Okay, this equals the mTOR pathway. Building, tearing down, both needed. We want to tear down the bad cells. We want to build new. So therefore, when we add, just like the weekly, feast, famine, same thing, right? Feast, famine, autophagy, mTOR. That's the magic. I believe this. I think we're going to find out why we're seeing these results the way we are. You know, I think this goes in deep into our DNA, how we're wired for these feast-famine cycles. I think it changes and transforms the microbiome, which is another reason why we get this hormone optimization from this feast-famine. But weekly and monthly, magic. You know, watch what it does. Look, the reason why most people don't feel well, it is in fact a hormone issue. But remember, we have to get our cells hearing the hormone. And that was one I did another video, I think 2 videos ago. But we have to get our cells hearing the hormones. In this strategy, I believe it does that too. I believe it gets the cells hearing your hormones better. I believe it optimizes your hormones via your microbiome, emulating these feast-famine cycles. I believe this turns off bad genes. You know, so all of these things our DNA is wired for. I think this is what it's doing. Look, the fact is that we are wired to fast. And during fasting times, times of famine, we get genes that get turned off. That's why we need these times in our DNA. But without them, today it's all feast, right? It's all we do is eat. We don't fast because we don't have to. But the fact is when we don't, we're not down-regulating these bad genes that get turned on, right? Weight loss genes or inability to lose weight, thyroid, whatever it is. So the point is when we're doing this, we're getting the building, replenishing cells, driving stem cells even further. And then we're getting the autophagy, tearing out the bad cells, resetting our DNA and our microbiome and resetting our hormones. So anyways, this is awesome because June 2nd, we do the fast. So what you're going to plan to do, my dog's playing with a ball on the thing. Don't let you deal with that, please. Anyways, so what we do is after the fast, here's the best part. Not right away. I would wait at least a week, maybe 2, and then plan a higher one of these, higher carb, higher protein, and higher calories. But after the fast, we want to upregulate again, feed all those good stem cells. So feast, famine, it's magic. So now you have a little glimpse in what I want you to do. I don't want you to do this yet. I want you to start with this on June 2nd, okay? Pick your fast. And then you're going to plan 5 days of the feast. That's easy. Make it healthy. All right, that's how you optimize your hormone. Listen, share the video. I'm telling you, because people watch this and they go, oh my gosh, that's, transformative. Many people have these problems. You're holding the answer right now. So I'm using my time in doing this. So you have to do your part. Share the videos. Let's add to the group, because obviously the more we have, the powers in the group, all ships rise with the tide. Wait till you hear the transformations that happen during the fast from June 2nd on. I'm telling you, if you're new to the group, you'll see everything I'm saying. And remember this too, you don't heal with just one fast. All right, do we have any questions, Dylan? I don't know if we want to take anything there. Well, okay, I was trying to get things together, and I didn't tell you in the beginning to actually add the questions, but those of you who come on and actually watch, I try to answer your questions to bless you for being actually live. But I think it is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to do. All right, so listen, I have some special guests coming in next week for you. One of the gentlemen from ProLone, doctor that it was part of the development of the fasting mimicking diet. So prepare for that. And I have another special guest too. So Monday night, one of our special guests. So be prepared, not just Wednesday, but most likely Monday and Wednesday next week. So be prepared, same time as always. And I'll see you on Monday, unless something dramatic happens and I absolutely have to bring you a Facebook Live, something simple. But otherwise, Monday at 6. See you then.